27, 2026, the Alliance of Sahel States, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, that jointly summoned Nigeria's representative in Ouagadougou. And the reason, very, very clear. Now, the reason why the summoning happened in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, is because Burkina Faso currently holds the confederal presidency of the entire Sahel state. So and the reason why this Nigerian representative was summoned was because of something that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu opened his mouth and said, to put it mildly, he said terrorism in Nigeria is a product of the conflict in the Sahel. Now, let me give you the context before we go deep. On July 30, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while addressing traditional rulers here in Nigeria, and in that address, he made a claim. He said, and I quote, "Some of them," he's talking about the terrorists, "they are non-Nigerians. You see the problem of insecurity in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger." This is what he said, and I'm quoting it directly. Rashford, welcome. He said the crisis in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. He said the crisis in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger is adding more fuel to the challenge in Nigeria. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the implication of that statement is very, very clear and not clear at the same time. So President Tinubu is saying that the terrorism in Nigeria, that Nigeria has been battling, is being imported from the Sahel. So Nigeria is adding more fuel. You know, he said Niger, Republic, Burkina Faso, that they are the ones fueling the terrorism in Nigeria. The AES did not take this lightly. The Foreign Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traore, speaking on behalf of the three AES states, described Tinubu's remark as, and I quote, "rapid, simplistic, and surprising." Now, let me say this. I think the AES, I think they are somehow, like, should I say they are very, very, what language can I use? They are very respectful when addressing Nigeria. And I think the reason why they are respectful is not because of the people leading the administration in Nigeria. I think it is because of the ordinary Nigerians like you and I, whose intention is not a direct reflection of the doings of those people leading the country. And they are correct. Because today I'm going to present to you 5 pieces of evidence as to why President Tinubu's claim is not just misleading, it is demonstrably false. And not that alone, I'm going to go beyond that to explain to you all why somebody like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not be taken serious, which I think the United States and some of the colonialists whose interests he represents, they don't even take him serious. You feel me? They don't take him serious. So, and there is a reason why they don't take him serious. We are going to get to all of that. Now you can see I'm a Yoruba person, I'm a Nigerian, but I'm here to contest what he has said and to show you all that what some of these criminals say does not represent the opinion and the interest of common Nigerians. Just the way these people are lying about the situation in the country, they are irresponsible. They are trying to ship out this terrible idea. They don't identify with the reputation of Nigerians. But, you know, well, let's get into it. Evidence number 1. Boko Haram is 100% Nigerian creation. These people evolved from the Kanuris in the north. It was founded in 2002 in Maiduguri, Borno State, by a Nigerian man known as Muhammad Yusuf. Now let me justify now. Muhammad Yusuf was a product of Abubakar Gumi, the father of Sheikh Gumi, this terrible Sheikh Gumi in Nigeria today, that is propping and fueling the morale of the terrorists that is killing innocent Nigerians every day. So it is 100% Nigerians' innovation. They don't produce anything reasonable. The only thing they do is to produce terrorism. You can imagine some very delusional Nigerians when Iran started the conflict with Israel. They said, oh, let's just go and fight for religion. I looked at this like, are these people normal? In the north, same people with their terrible ideology, they killed Deborah. Now, this movement did not come from Burkina Faso. It did not come from Mali. It did not come from Niger. It was born on Nigerian soil, from Nigerian condition, led by Nigerians, and the insurgent turned violent in 2009. It has been breeding for a very long time before it turned violent. And years after, before the Sahel crisis, Nigeria has had terrorism before the Sahel crisis even escalated. So by the time Mali faced its jihadist surge in 2012, look at it, Nigeria since 2009. Mali's crisis started in 2012. So Boko Haram had already been terrorizing northeastern Nigeria for 3 years. So what is Nigeria doing to solve the terrorism crisis in the country? They are recruiting some of these terrorists that have once upon a time or multiple occasions killed innocent Nigerians. They are recruiting them into the army. Now they are talking about sabotage. They wanted to justify, this calamitous methodology of recruiting terrorists into the Nigerian army by saying Mali just did the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mali recruited defense groups that are fighting against terrorists. These are the people that Mali recruited. And for Mali to recruit any of these individuals, a village chief had to identify and attest for the credibility of these men. So it's different. It's different from a country that uses taxpayers' money to fund rehabilitation, and they don't even monitor these terrorists. Once they tell you that they are done with and it's a $1 billion industry in Nigeria. This whole repentance program that they lie to you about is a $1 billion program. It's corruption from top to bottom. And now these people think they hold enough moral justification to talk about the side. Now that lie, for me, it infuriates me because we all know the truth. Now that aside, evidence number 2, ISWAP, Islamic State in West African province. Now, let me tell you something. About 3 weeks ago, we got an intelligence leak that Islamic State in West African province, when the situation in the Sahel got tough for the ISSP, which is the Islamic State in the Sahel province, do you know where their fighters came from? Do you know where the backup came from? They came from Nigeria. According to information, the ISWAP in Nigeria, they are so sophisticated. These guys use drones. They are advanced. Only God knows who trains them. Before, they used to ship about 40 to 50 fighters to the Sahel. Now, they are shipping like 200. Where do you think they are getting these fighters from? They are getting it from the Alumajiri. This is where these fighters are coming from. A lot of children in the northern Nigeria, in their millions. Now, you've heard something about the poverty ratio in this country, right? That for the over 200 million of Nigerians, you have above 100 million that are poverty stricken, right? So 70% of that over 100 million that is below poverty level, they are from the north. The state where I come from, Ondo State, we have the least poverty in Nigeria. Then Lagos. It is because the southwest and the southeastern, they value education. They train their people. You hardly can find terrorism in the south. See, look, I don't want to get to that. Now, we are saying this because of The lie that this man just told. You see, this man has never represented Nigeria the right way. Never. Not once, not ever. You can tell me one thing he has done internationally. Is it falling down in Turkey that you want to talk about? How many presidents, apart from President Joe Biden of the United States, how many presidents are walking on wobbly legs every time? How many presidents can you count? Is he Ibrahim Traore? Come on, man. Now, apart from Boko Haram, right? Evidence number 2, the Islamic State in West African province. The Islamic State in West African province, ladies and gentlemen, is a splinter from the Boko Haram sect. He broke away in 2016 and immediately pledged their allegiance to the Islamic State in Syria and Levante. He broke away in 2016. Where does it operate? Borno State, Adamawa, Yobe in Nigeria. All Nigerian states, its commanders, its foot soldiers, its recruitment base, overwhelmingly Nigerian from the Nigerian Almajiri system. Guess what Burkina Faso is doing? Beggars are being taken off the streets. It's a crime for you to be a beggar in Burkina Faso. You cannot be a beggar. But in Nigeria, move around Lagos, you will see these people, they ship them from the north, they drop them. They wake up, these people, let's not get into it. These people have hands, they have legs, they are intact. But they have so much condemned themselves based on the ideology that has been sown into them by some of these misguided clerics, that the only thing they do is to beg. They are back tomorrow. They are back next tomorrow. Now imagine when you put rifles in the hand of some of these entities. And you see, I see the problem of terrorism in West Africa as a problem that it has not even exploded. Family, listen to me. It has not exploded. Until Nigeria stops this Almajiri thing, and you know the way these people give birth to kids. Oh, well, because the poverty continues, the policies are not beneficial to the poor. Don't go and look at some of these people that have been put on social media, some of these bloggers, some of these, mainstream media talkers. When they talk, you think that they are speaking for the interest of Nigeria. No, they are not. Somebody like Rufai Oseni, the reason why I'm talking about him is that this guy speaks. Everybody call him Rudy Fire. But guess what? When Lindsey Graham died, it was in fact, he cried. A warmonger like Lindsey Graham, waved everybody goodbye. Do you know how long that man has been a senator in the United States? So when I look at these people, I just nod my head like, man, you are not crying over Nigerians that get killed every day. In the southeastern part of Nigeria, to tell you how bad the situation in this country is. Just because you are living your normal life every day does not mean the situation in this country is good. These people, they love foreign ideology more than the ideology of their own country. In the southeastern part, there are students in a school that were singing the national anthem of the United States. They pledged to the United States, little children. Not to Nigeria. They thanked Donald Trump for saving Nigeria. But you see, it is so disrespectful when Nigerian soldiers die on a daily. I can't count the numbers. For these same ungrateful people that are pledging their allegiance to the United States and Donald Trump, is so terrible. So when you hear certain representatives telling lies and all of that, you definitely know what these people are about. A confused, I don't know what to say. Now, if I was the president, that school will not only be closed, those kids need to go for rehabilitation. Because if you can pledge your allegiance and you can proudly read it, you can sing the anthem of another country, So imagine if Malians, Burkinabe or Nigerians are singing the anthem of Russia. These people will jump on the internet instantly. With their useless organization, they will be like, Russia is trying to colonize. But if it happens in a place like Nigeria, no, it's normal. Some people don't even know the anthem. Even the people leading the Nigerian House of Representatives, they don't even know the new anthem. Some of the people in Nigeria, they know the anthem of the United States. You thank Donald Trump. Why Nigerian soldiers keep dying every day? A lot of people don't understand. For every soldier that dies on the battlefield, it's another Nigerian that has just been saved. According to one of the soldiers that spoke on the internet, he said they are the bulletproof for the civilians. That is to tell you how under-equipped they are. Well, let me not kill the conversation with Nigerian problem, because the problem is not something we can estimate. Now, ISWAP is a Nigerian creation. Now, this is not a foreign legion that crossed the border into Nigeria. It is a Nigerian problem that occasionally spills across border, not from the Sahel to Nigeria, but from Nigeria to the Sahel. I've told you about the Islamic State in the Sahel. I've told you. Now, again, evidence number 3. The Northwestern bandit crisis. Everybody in Nigeria knows about banditry. Zamfara State, Katsina State, Sokoto State, Kaduna. Yeah, all of these states we are mentioned is northern Nigeria. Some of the worst violence in Nigeria today is being created and caused by these entities. Now, who are these bandits? According to research, the bandits in the Northeast alone is above 40,000. The bandits in the Northeast alone is above 40,000. Harmed. They said harmed estimates. Probably, I think these are the ones that used to come for peace negotiation. It is in Nigeria that I heard that there's a celebrity bandit. They call him, is it Bello Lankai? I know these people's name. So now, let's get out of that. And every credible studies on international crisis group to Nigerian security analysts confirms that this terrorist group and these criminal networks, they are homegrown in Nigeria. They evolved from local resource conflicts. They call it farmer-elder clash, but Nigerians know what's up. That go back over a century. These are not Sahelian imports. These are Nigerians killing Nigerians. Now, is it a country that's paid lobbyists in the United States? Ah, man. Now, evidence number 4, the Lakurawa Group, designated a terrorist organization in 2025. It emerged in Sokoto State as a local self-defense group before it grew into a militant force against Nigerian origin. All right? Killing a lot of Nigerians. Born on Nigerian soil, Nigerian members. Now you can see that the pattern is consistent. Nigerian terrorism, Nigeria being the origin, problem is primarily indigenous, and it's getting out of control in Nigeria. The terrorism in northern Cameroon is as a result of the escalation in Borno State. Borno, Maiduguri. Boko Haram that started in Nigeria started moving into Cameroon from Nigeria. So, and I see it as an individual lacking all the credibility on the planet to blame your own incompetence. You are being opportunistic. You are blaming your own incompetence, your own corruption, your own fraudulent way. You are trying to blame it on foreign nations. You are trying to blame it on their struggles. It's very, very terrible. Do you know that the issue of state policing in Nigeria, do you know that there is a council called the Islamic Sharia Council in Nigeria? And I'm not saying that state policing, they are against it in Nigeria. What did Burkina Faso do to this same Sharia? They have a council in Nigeria. Evidence number 5. And this is the knockout evidence. The foreign minister of Burkina Faso himself stated yesterday that Niger has been waging war against Boko Haram long before jihadism ever took hold in Burkina Faso and Mali. Think about what that means. Niger was fighting Boko Haram because the threat was coming from Nigeria into Niger, not from Niger to Nigeria. The spillover direction was Nigeria to the Sahel, not the Sahel to Nigeria. Tinubu's narrative reverses the actual historical timeline. Recently, when the Malians bombed the financial logistics supply of artisanal mining in Tinzawantin, guess the people that made videos on the ground? Hausa Nigerians. Hausa Nigerians were the ones that made video there. Now imagine if they can walk all the way from northern Nigeria to Mali. Now you see, ladies and gentlemen, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did was not a mistake, in my opinion. Whatever he says, I don't know what to say about it. This was a deliberate attempt, in my opinion, because if you know the truth and you are lying about it, definitely, I think it's a deliberate attempt to externalize Nigeria's internal security failures. It's failure. When you recruit people that have killed Nigerians into your army, you call them special candidates. To point fingers at neighboring states, instead of addressing the governance deficit, the corruption, the daily looting of the resources of the country, the underfunded military, the political negligence that created the conditions for this group to thrive on Nigerian soil for over decades. It's terrible that they can come out without no reasonable reputation to make this claim. And that brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to the part of this conversation why Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not have a reasonable reputation to be taken seriously on matters of integrity and truth. I'm saying this with all my chest. So when people like that speak, you don't have to take them serious, for reasons that are well documented. Now, I will say this. I respect everyone. In fact, I respect him. But I have to be honest with you. That I respect you does not mean we should not call out some of your deficiencies that are obvious. This is a man that the CIA came out and said that is their active asset. They said it. They did not deny, the Nigerian government did not deny it. They did not address it. They let it slide. So when he speaks, you know the interest of the people he's speaking for is the president of ECOWAS. So if ECOWAS is a puppet regime that serves only the interest of the West, you definitely know what he represents to be the president of. Everybody can just lie to you that Senegal is the president of ECOWAS and all of that. Nigeria is the headquarter of ECOWAS. I just want you to know that. Every letter, everything comes out from Abuja. And that was where that language of Nigeria is the giant of Africa, this is where it comes from. The oppression of the revolution in Liberia. Which military led the operation? Nigerian army. When they were about to attack Niger Republic, which military was about to lead the operation? Nigerian military. So when they say these people are the giant of Africa, they are not saying it because of credibility. They are saying it because these are the people that have always been used to actualize the objectives and the interest of the West in Africa. At least West Africa, to be specific. Now, case 1 in 1993 in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, Chicago. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu forfeited $460,000. to the United States government. The US Department of Justice had linked those funds to heroin trafficking operation. This is not rumor, this is a matter of certified US court record. A civil forfeiture means the court found probable cause. The money was the proceeds of narcotic trafficking. This is a man who, by his own legal history, was involved with a drug trafficking syndicate. Based on record. The certificate forgery scandal during the 2023 presidential election, Tinubu's academic credential through the US court system, the Chicago University certificate he submitted to INEC became the subject of internal litigation. Questions about its authenticity and about potential identity discrepancy across official documents remain unresolved in the public domain. This is a man that has no recognizable classmates. Nobody, no, we have not seen one person in this Nigeria that said, I am the classmate of President Tinubu. No, not one. We have not seen, we are still searching. At least I have classmates. If I come out today, my classmates will emerge from all over Nigeria, you know, and outside the country. So this is a man that has no classmate that we can point to. So, case 3, ladies and gentlemen, when a man of this kind of history, drug money, forfeiture, right, on one hand, and documents controversies on the other hand, a lot of people call it certificate forgery and all of that. You can call it whatever you want to call it. And then stand before traditional rulers and make claims about regional security that are demonstrably contradicted by historical record, because this is historical record. You have to ask, what is the basis for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking such a person seriously? We can't take him seriously. And this is where I want to speak to the Sahel. When people like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaks, they should take it with a pinch of salt, because his statement means nothing. It means nothing. And I love the way they condemned his action. The last time there was an escalation in the Burkina Faso, in Bobo de la Soul, it wasn't about Nigerian. You know that Nigerians live in Burkina Faso. That's one thing I want a lot of people to know. It was not about Burkina Faso government oppressing those innocent Nigerians who probably left Nigeria because the economic situation is not even favorable to them. And they're in Burkina Faso. Nothing happened to them. They are enjoying themselves. Some of them even said they can never ever come back to Nigeria. It was a Nigerian Lockheed military aircraft that was brought down in Burkina Faso. So the hate has always come from this puppet administration. Now, the AES response yesterday was not just diplomatic, it was a dignified rebuttal. They chose what they call a joint shared fight approach rather than condemnation. They reminded Nigeria that security is a shared challenge. And they are right. Ladies and gentlemen, the AES did not condemn Nigeria. They told Nigeria that security issues are shared threats and must be addressed in unity. Who is more civilized between this administration? Who is more civilized between the administration of Burkina Faso and the administration of Nigeria? Most of the Nigerian politicians, they have a very, very bad credibility in terms of honesty, in terms of, you know. And let me tell you where I have problem with some of the presidential candidates that I imagine in Nigeria. Somebody made a statement. Peter Obi made a statement when he was addressing the US. He said if the US does not intervene in Nigeria's situation, that there will be no partner for the US if the security situation escalates beyond what it is right now. So right there, I saw a man that is not trying to hone the security and the economic affairs of Nigeria. Are you getting what I'm saying? Nigeria is strong enough. Nigeria is powerful enough. Nigerians are intelligent enough to handle the issue of this country. But when I hear from somebody that a lot of Nigerians call a political savior, that says that if the US does not intervene, then there won't be a partner for the US in the future. Man, well, everybody has their own opinion. So, family, what do you think about this? What do you think about the Burkinabe approach? You know, was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's statement a genuine error, or was it a calculated attempt by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to blame the Nigerian security situation on the Sahel? So, family, this is what I felt like talking about today, because this information has just emerged, and you know, we can't continue to hide and tell lies that Nigeria is not a problem to Africa as a whole right now. You see, these people representing Nigeria, they are a disgrace on so many levels. And if you're a Nigerian, you don't agree with what I'm saying, then something is wrong somewhere. Nigerians are being sent out of South Africa. Why? Because Nigeria has no reputation right now. It is not because jobs have been... Now, if you listen to most of the South Africans, they are targeting Nigerians directly. And it is not just because they hate Nigerians. No. As a Nigerian now, if they see you somewhere, they are going to double check and triple check you. Most especially for the people that are traveling out of Nigeria. Some countries don't even accept our passports. Apart from the criminal offenses of certain people outside the country, when they look at the reputation of your government, which they know about, look at Sheikh Gumi that wanted to travel to Saudi Arabia, the country that trained him to be a terrorist, right? He wanted to travel, they rejected him. He came back to Nigeria. So how do you want certain people to look at Nigeria? A man that was rejected from entering Saudi Arabia on claims that, you know, he's into terrorism, came back to Nigeria freely. No investigation, no proper routine check or whatsoever. This man speaks with some of the highest influence in Nigeria. So how do you want people to look at Nigeria? How? And the West will continue to leverage on the terrible influence they have in Nigeria to try to condemn other African countries. Let me tell you something. Just to wrap it all up, that these criminals don't represent the interest of Nigeria. Have you seen when the issue of the aircraft, the Lockheed Martin Hercules aircraft that was brought down in Bobo de la Soul? You saw when it happened, and there was a Nigerian operative. I like him so much. He's my friend on TikTok. When he said that Nigeria was going to crush Burkina Faso within you know, the shortest period of time and all that. Have you all seen the condemnation from Nigerians? Have you heard what Nigerians said? So as to know that this administration does not represent the interest of Nigerians. Nigerians said the conflict was going to start inside Nigeria, not in Burkina Faso. Do you get what I'm saying? They said the fight was going to start inside Nigeria, and this is not the first time the people are moving against this corrupt administration. Every time it's one suppression after another. But I can tell you, a lot of Nigerians are good. But Nigerians must equally understand that the people that represent you internationally has a way of affecting your image. So thank God for the social media. We're able to speak our piece. Imagine the era of the mainstream media. When you had CNN, you had NTA, you had all this terrible, you know, mainstream media. This speech of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was just going to come out on the mainstream media, no proper contests, no proof, nothing. And everybody out there, you know, just because the mainstream media controls everything, they are going to think a certain way or they think a certain way. A lot of people were blindfolded during the era of the mainstream media. Remember, it was the era of the mainstream media that they attacked Libya. And I continue to tell a lot of people, Muammar Gaddafi, when he was attacked, Goodluck Jonathan gave support to the NATO forces that were bombing Libya. The airstrip in Nigeria was used as a takeoff ground for the bombing mission. They used Nigerian airfield. These are documented facts. Look at so, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I came to talk about. And to be honest with you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's statement is very incorrect. Like I said, I respect him as a man, but you know, we are all Africans. A white man does not see you as a Nigerian or a Guinean or an Ivorian. A white man sees you as a black man. So we will never ever stand with, we will never ever stand with a black man lying and trying to fabricate unfounded allegation against the struggle of other black people. Burkina Faso as a state, as a nation, has never, not that I know of, said anything negative against Nigeria. It has always been a one-way street from this corrupt administration. Every Nigerian listening to me, except you are part of the clique, you know that this administration is extremely corrupt. You know. And like I said, I'm a Yoruba person. Now, I'm going to say one thing before I go. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Yoruba man. I am equally a Yoruba man. There is this lie that a lot of people want to tell. Now, I will break it down. They say that Yorubas are not united. When you talk about unity, trust is part of unity. Credibility is part of unity. So now that I'm coming out to condemn the lies of this individual, a lot of people will be like, oh, Yoruba people are not united. The Yoruba race is an empire. So nobody is going to come and tell us in Yoruba ethnicity, we speak it as it is. Because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Yoruba person does not mean that we should keep quiet, and when he goes out of line, we should not correct him with facts. That's why a lot of people come out. We are different from other people. That even if their leaders are killing people, they will keep quiet because they think that is loyalty. It is not loyalty. So, ladies and gentlemen, so at this point, I want to bid everyone farewell. And I want to thank you all for your support. I'm back now. So have a wonderful weekend. And thank you for everyone that used to support this community. I love you.